Hey kids, welcome to Lesson 9, Looping and Random Numbers, Part 2, Lesson 2, Adding Bubbles. The first high-level function you will write is draw all bubbles. You may have noticed that the bubbles in the image look very similar to the dot examples we've already drawn in this lesson. Now we'll use that skill to add to our image. If we look over here, we can see a bunch of little dots. That is pretty neat. Do this. Read the draw bubble function to know how it works and what parameters it accepts. Modify the code draw all bubbles. Add a loop inside the function. Move the commands that were already inside the function inside the loop instead. In other words, wrap a loop around the existing lines of code that are already inside the function. This way your code will move the turtle around randomly and call the draw bubble many more times. All right. That seems important there. So we need to make sure that the loop is inside the function and not around the call. Set the number of iterations in your loop so the scene is filled with bubbles. Try starting at 200 and adjust it to whatever number you like. Well, that sounds pretty fun. Let's take a look at our code here. Up here, we looked at this before. We have our prepare to draw and everything. So really what we want to get to is our bubbles. If you remember from before, it said not to add it around our call. So we don't want to put it there. We want to do something within the function. So let's go find our function for the draw bubbles. Seagrass, sea stars, fish, sea bubbles. Here we are. Do. To do, repeatedly draw bubbles. The function draw all bubbles moves to a random place and draws a random size. I think if I put my loop in here, that will cause it to draw, when it's called, bubbles over the screen once. So I don't have to worry about over here repeating that. I'm going to change this number. Earlier it said, I believe, 200. 200. So we're going to put 200 in our loop. And when I hit run, I should see my single starfish, my single seaweed, my single fish, my single sunbeam, but now I should see lots of bubbles. Let's hit run and see. Woo! There it is, bubbles everywhere. It's a lot of bubbles. I think I like just a little more bubbles though. Nothing crazy, let's go to 250. Ooh, looks much more oxygenated for our little sea friends. If we didn't want so much, we could definitely decrease this number, take it down to 50, let's say. And you can see it's much less bubbly. This one looks more like a dirty screen. Though, I'm going to go to 250. There we are. So every time I run this and it hits my call, draw bubbles, it's going to come down and find my function down here. And my function draw bubbles now has a loop in it. And what loops in it is it moves to a random spot and it draws a bubble randomly between 1 and 5. Pretty neat. I think that's all we needed to do. Let's see if code.org agrees. Hey! Good job, kids. I'll see you on the next puzzle.